Okay, I'm going to attempt to explain this phenomenon that I found yesterday on Steam called 5D chess. It with multiverse time travel. So it's pretty crazy and pretty trippy, but I've kind of gotten the hang of it after 24 hours. So I was pretty confused yesterday, but let me play. I'm going to do no clock and I'm going to play the computer. I'm going to do standard chess. You can play smaller boards, but I prefer standard chess. Since I'm fairly skilled at regular chess, I want, the full abilities of or the full perplexity? Complications of this 5D version. But if you're starting off, you can play a smaller, like 5x5 board, just to get a feel for the planes and the dimensions. So, anyways, we'll do trainer. I won't do weak because, yeah, they make a really bad moves. But I recommend trainer if you just want to play around to get a feel for the dimensions. I'll do regular. I'll play as white. This is just to kind of figure it out. Standard. And play. So here we go. It starts off with regular chess until you start sending pieces back in time. So I'm going to, you just start off, you submit your move, and the computer's going to play his move. And as you can see, the time is linear, but it's a dimension now. So we're going to see the entire game fold out. And what you can do is you can do the history view, and it's one plane. If you think about it, what I can do, I won't do it yet. I'm gonna play a few more moves on the regular board before we deviate. Or the computer might send. But what I can do is I can send a piece back in time. And also, it's important to remember that you can only play on the boards that have the borders of your color, because it's 2 boards per move. 1 move for white and 1 move for black. So on this board has a white border because white goes first. I made my move, as you can see. And here, black. It has a big white border because it's my move. It'll turn into a small black border, or a small white border. See, small white, small black, or something like that. So it's really hard to explain, but yeah, he moved here. I'm gonna whatever for now. We're just playing around. See, as I move it, see it becomes, and then if I submit it, see it makes a copy. And now we have the whole. So right as of now, we've had 2 moves. 2 moves, which means a move from both sides. So 4 boards. 2 complete moves. Technically, this is not. This is the starting position. This is move 0. So this is move 1 for white. Okay, move 1 for white. Move 1 for black. Move 2 for white. And move 2 for black. All right, and like I said, there's history view. If you want to look at it, and what basically these all line up as a dimension. So yeah, the regular board is a 2x2 dimension. Time becomes the 3rd dimension, time is technically the 4th dimension, but it serves as a 3rd dimension. This is kind of a 3-dimensional chessboard now through time, if that makes any sense. And so there's also the parallel view, but I don't have I don't have the alternate dimensions yet, so it's just looks like they're lined up. But the history view is for time, and that gives you a better view of, for example, if I pick my queen. Once you pick a queen, you can see it gives you this option here. So now it'll give you options on all 4 sides, or whenever it's applicable. In this case, we've only gone in one straight line of time. So I can click on this, and it's gonna get rid of the black boards, black move boards. So it just shows where I can go, so I can have a sense of my moves. This queen here can move, as you can see, up 1 or 2 squares, like in regular chess on the main board. But it can go here, all the green squares it can hit, because basically the queen can move. The pieces move like in normal chess, and so the queen can go. It's essentially going diagonal up 1. I can't go straight back because there's a queen there and there's a queen there. I can't You can't go through, queens can't jump over pieces, so it can't jump over copies of itself. And in this case, though, it can go diagonal through time. So think of this as a three-dimensional chessboard now. And the queen, if I wanted to, could go up one and over one in time, and that's like a diagonal upward. Okay? Or it can continue that path and go diagonal up two. See, the lines give you really, they really help out. You have to select. The only thing that's kind of annoying is I play regular chess on like chess.com, and you have to select and deselect pieces. I guess because it's so complicated that it just only can show you the path of one piece at a time. So deselect. I'll pick a different piece, for example. Like this knight. Knights are tricky. Click this knight. If I want to see the path. And look at this. Look where this knight can go. It can do the normal L shapes. Knight's moving in an L shape, but it can be an L shape through time. It's not a teleportation. It is a three-dimensional chessboard. So it's not like it's not like the knight is going to move in an L shape and then teleport to its identical square. All the squares have names in regular chess. You have A, B, C, A through H, and 1 through 8. So my knight is on F3. But if I move knight to E5, it's not going to teleport. That's just one dimension. And if I want to go to the other board, it's not as you can see at the green spots, it cannot. Oh, I forgot. That's yeah. Until I choose the planes, I choose the plane, and the black boards disappear. But if you don't click on it, then they're still there. But basically, these green squares are where the knight can go, and the knight can go to these three over here in one dimension. And it's not an L. It doesn't look like an L shape. It looks like it's going. Oh, it's going over 2, and it's teleporting 1. But if you think about it, it is an L shape. It's just a three-dimensional L shape, also going back in time. So this is where it gets confusing. It took me a while to figure this out. But as you can see, this knight that's right here, it would go 2 over and 1 back in time, and it's still an L shape. Or it could go 2 through in time and then go over 1. You can rearrange this L shape, in all 3 dimensions. This L shape can be backwards, forward. It's a three-dimensional L. Okay. So like I said, this knight, 2 left and 1 back. It's like a sideways back L. Or you can go back 2, and then it can rearrange over here. And then you can go to any one of these 3. You can't capture your own pieces, so that's why there's other. And also, knights can jump over pieces, but they have short range, so they can only go 2 back maximum before they move, left or right, or up or down, whatever. But I'm trying to think of another piece that, like this bishop here. It can't go anywhere yet because it's blocked by its own pieces. And it can't teleport back through time because it's just there's pieces in the way. You have to there's copies of itself, so it can, pieces kind of have to move out of the way before they can, or have pieces move out of the way before they can have a clearing. Queens are the big ones because they can go in any direction. So let's figure out what to do here. I want to castle and get my king to safety. I'm gonna go ahead and move this. I'm gonna go ahead and still move 1 up here. So this is just regular chess so far. We haven't done anything crazy yet. Okay. So, as we have the timeline of the moves, I could. Yeah, it's regular chess right now, and and you can only play in the present, or shall I say? Yeah, you can play in the present. You can't change the past. If I go back in time, it's going to create an alternate timeline. You cannot change the past. You'll just play an alternate timeline. This present bar is very important, as it may get shifted back after. If I go back in time, then this will have a branch. I should probably demonstrate. It's hard to explain verbally, but I want to do a few more moves in regular chess. I want to castle my king. get to safety. And I don't even know if that's good or bad, but this is just regular chess. Nothing crazy has happened yet. Okay. Okay. All right. Kind of curious. I want to explain. So far, we've done just regular chess. This is the. So what I could do, take a look at these boards. The thing is if you move a piece and create an alternate timeline, that piece is no longer here. You just gotta think about king safety at all times. But you have, and the object of the game is to checkmate only one king. It usually involves a double attack on two kings, and the your opponent can't save both kings. You can attack a king in the past, and if you do that, you can't change the past. So the king's in check. That's the part that kind of confuses me a little bit still, is that you can check in the past, and if that piece can't be killed, then you can't move the king in the past because the past has already happened. But it does create an alternate timeline. Basically, you can't have any of your kings in danger. It gets really complicated. So let's see if we can do something here. Like, I don't know, a knight, for example. This knight can go. These are all my moves so far. Go back in time. And a lot of this is just winging it. It's impossible to calculate everything. It's like it gets very chaotic and it really messes with you. So, actually, I want to threaten the queen. So it's still regular chess for now. Maybe he'll break the first timeline. He'll do the first timeline. I kind of want to do it, but I don't know. I want to wait for the right time. Which, who knows? If, because I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest. Let's, I want to send this knight back in time, just to demonstrate. So, this knight, you see the green pops up. It does help me to... The green will tell you where you can go on other boards, but you can always, just get that view, and also pick the piece. Like I said, pick that knight, history view, and it'll tell you. And that just makes it a lot more clear and easier to visualize. So I can go back in time and attack the queen. Okay. And that queen can't move. Well, it creates a new timeline where the queen can move. This board is permanent, so let's just do it just to do it. This knight will go up 2 and over 1 through time. So let's do it. Ooh, here we go. Whee! Dum. And now we have broken this space-time continuum or whatever. Rick and Morty would be pleased. So yeah. Oh, I have to submit it. So you can always take back your move if you don't like it. You get to see the position. I think your opponent, if you're playing a real opponent, your opponent can see your position that you did, but it can also see you take it back. So it can your opponent can kind of see what you're trying, but he's probably just as confused as you are. And I'm playing the difficulty on normal, so he's not being very aggressive and trying to kill me. But what happened here? I sent this knight. It also creates the new board without the knight. This is where I was. I sent this knight into the past. It's still an L shape through the past. It doesn't look like an L shape from here. It's not an L shape and then teleport. It's an L shape. Teleportation, I think, is the wrong word. No pieces teleport. They travel. And they still have to move the way they normally move. Like I said, L shape. So that knight up 2 and over 1 through time. Ignore the black board. Okay. My boards are my boards. You can see through the white border and then a black border. So remember, 2 boards per move. And so the present, we created an alternate timeline on... I wish they would count them. That'd be kind of cool. So this is the move 0. move 1, move 2, move 3, 4, 5, and move 6. We had to move 7, and on my move 7, I created an alternate timeline on move 6. So it's a new move 7, I think, if I'm saying that right. Which doesn't really matter the move numbers, but it would be kind of cool. But they line them up when you create an alternate timeline. So if I go, you can go. If I were to go, like queens can travel far. If I were to go take a queen all the way back to the beginning, the timeline would come down here, and the present bar would be moved all the way back. Because time is relative, we've created a new timeline in the past, which means that's the new future of the past, which becomes relatively the new present. The bar would shift over, and everything we've done would technically be the future. Because the present bar just gives you the relative sense of time. Just like, this is complicated when I'm teaching grammar, whether I was teaching English grammar or Spanish grammar, just the concept of time is complicated when teaching because we understand simple times as in past, present, and future because we're always living in the present. We always live in the present. So the past is always in the past. Like the past is always, it's over. And like I said, in this game, you cannot change the past. You can only create alternate futures, which may be in the past until it's complicated. But in the future will never happen technically. But time is relative. Like tomorrow will never come because tomorrow is always a future term. But 24 hours later, tomorrow becomes today. So the present bar just gives you, just lets you know where you are in the moment. You can, now that there are 2 games going on, you can play in the future, but playing in the future is optional. So, but you are required to move all boards where it's your turn on the present bar. There's going to be a few things that I may get wrong, or I'm still trying to understand this game, but I've learned a lot in 24 hours, and I hope I'm explaining it right. So it's my move on both. I need to submit my moves. So I moved. By moving in the past, by moving a piece in the past, it created a new board without the piece, and that's technically my move. That is my move. My move was not to My move was not to move a piece, but to remove a piece and take it away into the past. So that's my move. Look, my new move is the knight's gone, and there's the board to show it. But it created an alternate timeline. Can't change the past, so this board stays the same from the previous timeline. Now we have an alternate timeline where that knight is that I moved there. So I'm going to submit these moves. See what happens. And what is going on? He moved his queen. Okay, because I was threatening his queen. Remember that queen from the past? It's a new future. Alternate timeline. I shouldn't say a new future because that's a relative term. I should just say alternate timeline. And this present bar what will be the future might be the past because this present bar will shift around relatively as you add boards in the future or add boards in the past. The present bar is just going to go haywire, in a sense. So, that queen didn't want to get captured, so it moved into the future. And if you move into the future, there's no alternate timeline. Going to the past creates an alternate timeline, but I'm trying to understand why going to the future does not, or technically it didn't go into the future. Everything shifts over, and so it moved here and created, but if you look at the original timeline, it just kind of appears. But that's my board because I'm white. So his boards, from his point of view, with the black boards, the queen. I'm confusing myself. The queen on alternate timeline teleported to the main timeline. Okay, as you can see, he has 2 queens now. He has 2 queens on this board. I have 3 knights on this board. You don't gain extra. I mean, you as pieces travel through time. Yeah, the thing is your king needs to be safe. But the problem is when you have so many boards. Um, the good. I think this might be a good strategy. I'm not sure. I castled early, so I have a castled king in like almost all these because I did it early. So you have my king is safe in most of the past because I castled early, and castling early is a good advice in regular chess too. I'm not sure, I can't really give advice about this game yet because I'm still learning a lot. But so if you look at the main timeline, I'm calling it the main timeline because it's the one we started with before it split. The queen was here, still there. It's gone. trying to. It left in an alternate timeline. It didn't leave in this timeline. I'm confusing myself now. Maybe my knight went back in time to threaten the queen in the past. So that queen didn't want to die and jumped into the future. But if you look at the original timeline, you got the queen. Everything was normal to move. Like I think this is move 6 or whatever. Queen's here. Then I developed the bishop attacking the queen. Queen gone. Oh, queen retreated. Okay. I thought the queen vanished, but the queen retreated, and it's a new queen. Oh. Okay. Yeah. I confused the two queens. The queen had retreated originally, and this is the new queen. The queen from the alternate timeline traveled to the future, and now here he is. Okay, if that was not confusing enough. So, my move on 2 board. Basically, I'm playing 2 games now. We got 2 games going until we split it even more. So, oh yeah, and so history views. Remember, you got it's 3-dimensional chess in a sense. The time is the 4th dimension because we live in 3 dimensions in real life. In real life, time is the 4th dimension. But since chess is a 2-player game, time is becoming the 3rd dimension. But it's also the 4th dimension because in real life we know time is the 4th dimension. But since there is no 3rd dimension in 2-dimensional chess, these boards just kind of line up and it looks like it becomes a 3-dimensional board. So we have a split timeline. But if I were to pick something on this board, like my queen, for example, now look at this. Look at this crap. Look at this. This queen can travel because the queens move in all directions. So there's nothing. It's not a cube. It's not a perfect cube, but now that we have a split, this queen can travel normally on the board up, diagonally to this. Basically, you're forming a big complex or a big. Think of a huge, I don't know, 20-story building with tons of office space and tons of rooms. You're creating tons of floors. And so this queen can go, it moves like a queen, but it can move, so it can move through time. In this case, since it's the beginning of an alternate timeline, I can't go back. But you can also go to parallel dimensions. These 2 right here. So these 2 that are lined up, and they're both on the present. Here's the funny thing, though. They're both on the present timeline, but this one's current. This is the present, and it's my move on this board. This one is on the same timeline because it's the exact same move. What was this, like move 6 we said? So these 2 are both move 7, just alternate move 7s. But I can't move on this one even though it's on the present bar because it's already progressed a little bit. Yeah, and so this is technically the past. You can only play on the most current timeline. So basically, I think, to my understanding now, for my move, I have to move on this one because it's on the present timeline. This one's technically the future, and I can move on it, or I can not. This will still be my move, but it's not obligatory until the present bar catches up. Okay. So I could expand the future as the present bar shifts. So will the future. If I could play on the future, or I could just not, and then this present bar I think is going to shift over or something. Although the queen, I can make it look the other. Okay, it's the same concept here. Actually, okay, if I want to look at it this way, alternate the queen can travel to the alternate dimensions because of the way queens can move everywhere. So you can travel between dimensions if it's not even if it's depending on how the piece moves. It doesn't have to be. I can go back in time, so I can go back in time and in another dimension. Just think it. You just that sounds confusing, but just think of it as it forming a three-dimensional chessboard with a lot of pieces. Okay. So let's go ahead and move. I have to move on this one. Some. And the thing is now is he doesn't have a queen on this board. He teleported his queen, so I feel like this king in this timeline. Remember, you only have to kill one king. Out of all these crazy possibilities, one king dies and it's over. You don't capture the king though. You do have to checkmate it, but the checkmates are different because of the different dimensions. It usually involves a double attack on two kings, or attacking a king in the past, and you can't. They explain that if you attack a king, if you check a king in the past, they can't. That king can't move, or you can't block. You cannot change anything on that board. That king is like permanently in check, and so the third in real chess there are three ways to get out of check. You can kill the piece giving check, you can move the king, or you can block. But in the past, you cannot change the board. You cannot block, and you cannot move the king because that's a frozen board in the past. But the only way to stop that checkmate is to send a piece back in time. Yeah. So if the Terminator goes back in time to kill Sarah Connor, you have to send your own Terminator to kill the Terminator. So you have to capture the piece, or if it could be captured on the original board. No, you can't because that board's in the past. And that board, that's the only way to get out of the checkmate. So a check in the past is essentially checkmate unless you can kill the piece that went back in time, which is hard to find sometimes. Sometimes you're in check and I have no idea how to get out of it, and I attempt and it'll say this doesn't work because and it'll give me a red arrow. Does not work. And so it gets frustrating. Like it says it's not checkmate, but I have no idea how to get out of it. So yeah, that's where it gets really complicated. So this one here, we got two boards to play from. Let's see. I can threaten the queen here. See what he does. He's threatening my pawn. He's got two queens on this board, but he's got 0 queens on this one. So I feel like I want to attack on this one until some other crazy shit happens. But yeah. I'm gonna leave the future one for. Well, if I leave the future one alone, he'll probably just eat my. Oh no, he can't. It's why it's my move. Even if I don't move on it, it's still my move. You can't skip a turn. It's still turn based, but it might be your turn on multiple timelines, and it might be his turn on multiple timelines. But I'm playing the computer, so he moves instantly. So I don't know what I'm doing. This night, I like to visualize. It's hard for me. I want to see it. So this knight can move the 3 knights or up to and over through time. But when I do that, it creates another branch. You play that position. Yeah, you play that position in a new timeline, and then it creates another story. Let's just do it to see how complicated this can get. So let's move the Boom. Liquid, holy crap. Okay. This got cray. Alright, I move tonight. Me talking it out loud to explain it in this video is actually helping me understand it a lot better too. So, this knight moved up here, which created another timeline. Also, it's your move. It's your move for this timeline where a knight just vanishes. So, I can submit my moves now if I wanted to. It's still my move on this move. This board's in the future. I can move now if I want, or I can move now later. Eventually, the present will catch up to it, and then I'm obliged to move. So you have to make moves on all in the present. Third timeline, and then look at this. Look at this parallel views. Now we got 3 boards lined up. This is like a 3-story building right here. It's crazy. I'm gonna submit and see what happens. Did he just? I think he just made a regular move. Yeah, he just wait a minute. Is it my move? Yeah, it's my move. He just moved here. It's still his move here, but it's in the past. That's the funny thing. It's in the past. You can't change the past, but if it's the most recent board of that timeline, it's the new future. So I guess because it wasn't on the present timeline, he didn't have to move. It's still his move on this board, but he chose not to. So okay, I kind of learned something new. I knew you didn't have to move in the future, but you could if you want. You can if you want to. You can extend futures or just wait for the present to catch up. Or I guess oh, that's right, in the past too. For example, this queen. Well, this is black. I can't move on this board. Okay, for example, queens can move a lot. I haven't moved my queen though. I want to show some. I need to expand. I want to show like an example. I played a game before where they sent someone sent their queen like all the way back. We're talking like a queen went all the way back to the beginning and created a timeline over here, for example, and that present bar shifted all the way back, and now we're back over here in the present, and then all this is the future. And this is where it can get very clusterfucky. So this is actually not that complicated yet, to be honest. I've been trying to keep it semi-simple for explanation purposes, but let's just if I move, yeah, I haven't moved my queen yet, so I can't really travel that far with it because I can't go through copies of myself, if that makes any sense. So I want to go for the king that's vulnerable in this one. Oh! I did not mean to do that. That wasn't... Okay, what just happened? Oh, it moved my queen up. That might not be a bad move. That was a mouse slip. I can always undo it. But let me analyze it now. My queen goes up. It's threatening the rook in the corner. If you look at other... What else is it threatening? Remember, it's threatening things through time. I'm going to do it just to threaten the rook. It's hard to think more than 1 or 2 moves ahead because it's 1 or 2 moves. Sometimes it's 1 or 2 moves on multiple boards on multiple timelines. So I'm going to just do that. And I have to move on this one too. It's on the present. So you gotta be careful that you gotta be careful you don't lose a piece through a dimension. For example, I move this queen here because it looks safe. It looks safe. You know, in regular chess, you're like, okay, don't move a piece to a square where it can be killed. You want to make sure it's safe. The thing is if I move it here, is it really safe there in the middle of the board? Like I can't really. It won't show me my opponent's paths. It shows me my own paths for moving, but it doesn't show my opponent's paths. So, like, he has 2 queens. This square. I feel like he'll be able to kill it or something. Like, this queen can teleport. If this queen goes over here. Oops. If this queen goes over here. This is diagonal through time. But it doesn't just teleport. It can't teleport to the same square. Because it's got to travel through dimensions. Do parallel view. Okay. It's weird how lining up the boards this way or this way gives me perspective. So here's the black queen. Yeah, if I kept my queen there, black. I'm just thinking, can the black queen be taken? It's really hard to tell. Like, this queen would travel from this black square. If it were to move diagonally, if it wanted to go over here, it would have to move. It can't. It doesn't look like it can reach me, but I could be wrong. So I'm gonna do that, and then on this board, I'm just gonna. This queen's vulnerable. I'll let him take a pawn. See what happens. I'm gonna attack the queen. Let's just do it. Okay, he moved on both. Decided not. Still his move on this one. He hasn't done anything. This is optional for him. And I guess if we and the only way for this present bar to go back, something has to go way back in time, and then this will become the future, and then otherwise this will be like a dead end. If we just keep playing these two and he never progresses or we never go back in time, this board just is like a dead end. He never moves on it. He's never obliged to move on it, but. So, what did he do? He took my pawn, and he threatened my queen. I'm going to go ahead and take the rook in the corner. And this king is weak. It doesn't have a lot of help. He's got 2 queens on here, but my king is tucked in the corner. So, and I'm not playing the computer on the hardest difficulty, so he's probably not. He's not playing the best moves, but I'm not playing the best moves either. So, I can threaten the queen. Am I threatening both queens? No, I took a rook, which is also threatening. We'll see what happens. A lot of this is trial and error. You really can't think ahead of everything, or you'll drive yourself crazy. I'm gonna move this bishop here. Submit moves. Oh, crap's going down. Crap is going down. What the hell did he do? Okay, he moved on the board that he didn't have to move on. He teleported another queen and created an alternate timeline here. I think if I'm not mistaken, I believe my alternate timelines go to the bottom and his alternate timelines go to the top. I think it's not random because because I'm white or whatever color I am, I'm on the bottom. My pieces are always on the bottom of the screen, and his pieces are always on his bottom. So that's kind of how it works. You create your timelines on your side of the board. This is all one board of time and alternate dimensions. Morty. All right. So now he's got 2 queens over here. He didn't have to move on these 2. This is the future now. The timeline, the present bar kind of got shifted. I think. I could be wrong. Good lord. All right. My move on this. It's getting a little confusing. I'm glad this was like a longish, a semi-long game. I wanted to explain everything. It is possible to checkmate in like 3 or 4 moves if you're not careful, because it's like a double attack on on a king in the present and a king in the past. So, my move on these 2 whiteboards, both in the present, so I'm obliged to move on both. But I can always send something in the past. But if I want, I can send something in the past. It's just hard to know really when to do it. You kind of do it just to play around. You're just tinkering with time. So, oh boy, I really want to get to this king. I don't know. I don't know how. Get this queen moved. Kind of the same thing. This is a similar. This is an open board. Go move up and threaten the rook. It's just really hard to know if a piece is safe right now without looking at tons of boards and seeing all the possible pieces. He might just eat my queen by traveling through time or dimensions, creating an alternate timeline of my killing my queen. It's a mess. I'm gonna do the same kind of concept here. Threatening the rook in the corner. Okay. So these queens kind of protect each other. Actually, it's the same queen in 2 different spots on 2 different timelines. They protect each other through the parallel universe because they're on the exact same square. That's pretty tight. And I have another. Yeah. Okay. So, oops. And that's my move on this one up here. Like I said, I gotta move somewhere normally or move something. I've never actually. I've only played a few. This is only my 3rd or 4th game ever playing this. But I have never sent something into the future. It's just a lot to take in. The good news is my king is castled, and I'm trying to take advantage of his non-castled king. I think. He's got 2 queens on this board. All right, I'm gonna move the rook over. Although, oh yeah, another thing, like pawns. Remember, in real chess, pawns can't go backwards, so pawns can never go back in time. And if they move forward, they can only move forward. Like, this is the top. So, I can have pawns, for example. Let's go down here. If I pick a pawn, deselect, okay. I haven't decided on this. I'm gonna move the queen up, but let's say I click, okay, let's undo the move. I'll move the queen up back up later. I think I'm, like this pawn, for example. If I want to move it, and look at the history of pawns is pointless, because pawns can, I can't go back in time. Pawns can't go backwards. I can just move up. Okay, but parallel is interesting. Oh, wait. Why can't I? I would love to capture with a pawn diagonally through, it can't be through back or through time, but maybe in the future or to another dimension. That'd be sweet. This pawn can move up 1. Oh, it can't move. It can't. The reason why is because I have the exact same pawn up ahead. I can't move forward. Let's pick a different pawn just to show. This pawn over here. No, they're all identical. My pawn structures are the same. I haven't really moved a lot of pawns, so it's hard to. Okay, I can't really demonstrate it yet. I can't. But the idea, I can't put. If I were to do the parallel, deselect. Let's just say this pawn parallel. It won't let me go. It's possible, but not at this moment because I can't. My own pawn blocks it. I can go up 1 or 2 normally on this board, but I could go 1 or 2 because there's 3 of these now. 1 or 2 if the pawn weren't gone, if the pawn were gone on this board. But my structures are kind of the same because I haven't made a lot of pawn moves recently. All right, let me just put that queen back where I said I was, attacking the rook. And on this board, let me move the rook over. These two queens are lined up, but I would love to get rid of this pawn somehow. Maybe move it up in exchange, get a double attack on these queens. I must admit. Okay. He still hasn't moved on the future boards, but this present line's catching up to the future. He'll have to make 4 moves. We'll have 4 games going on soon, until somebody goes back in time and makes another game we have to play. If you played regular chess and you've played simultaneous before, it's a lot easier. For example, traveling through dimensions is the trippy part, and it's really taking me time to grasp. But when if I'm deciding to make a move on a regular 2-dimensional board, I can I can move from board to board to board and kind of assess the situation on that board fairly quickly. But obviously I'm not analyzing everything because I'm not analyzing all the dimensions. But for an experienced, if you're good at regular chess, then you at least have a grasp on the 2-dimensional regular, knowing just playing multiple. If you've ever played multiple games at once, if you've ever had multiple opponents, or if you play on correspondence games like on chess.com, for example, I'm involved in 2 tournaments and I'm juggling a dozen games. It's not always my move, or I have like a day or 2 per move, but I'm juggling tons of games. So I make a move, and then I go on to the next game. Make a move, go on to the next game. So I have that skill in my pocket for this. We'll see if it helps. So, what am I doing? I gotta move on 2 boards. I'm gonna push this pawn because I want to exchange it and start attacking these queens. Okay. And on this one, yeah, I don't really want to. The thing, oh yeah, if you travel, I'm curious. Yeah, if you travel to the future, it does not create another time branch. It just kind of shifts it over. And it's hard for me to grasp, but that's the rule, I think. On this board, okay, he moved the bishop here, which is not a great move. I can just take it for free, unless it's a trap and he's gonna kill me in some other way. I'm just gonna take it for now. I'm gonna make mistakes. I can't fully analyze everything. All right, let's do it. Submit moves. It says move on 4 boards now. Boom. He said something back in time. What the hell? And because he said something back in time, okay, I thought he was gonna have to make a move on all 4 boards, but he sent something back in time. And that created a new timeline, and that prevented the present. It shifted the present. It shifted the present back 1 board. Okay, what did he do? He moved a knight to another board. I don't know why he did that. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, but let's. Well, on this one, I'm going to exchange the pawn and expose. This is like regular chess right here. It's just to expose this rook. He has his 2 queens lined up. I'm going to take. And over here. So I haven't gone back in time a lot. I'm kind of like just playing around when he does it. That's the thing, is I don't know when to go back, and like when would that be good for me strategically. I can do it just to play with it and have fun with it, but I don't know when it's good. Jesus, look at all this. But this board's all the way at the top. I can't. Oh, but I have like for example, the queen. You can see if the queen can go places. Whew, look where she can go. But maybe like, I don't know. It's an alternate timeline. Do I even care about this timeline? You only have to checkmate one king. So maybe if you have a board or two that you're focusing on, new ones are created, and you have to decide whether to kind of like, okay, this ignore it or whatever. A lot of this is a lot of this is trial and error. I'm giving you my thought process, but there's no way I know what I'm doing. I took the pawn, and then over here. Similar concept, just the queens are lined up, he hasn't moved them. Let's just do it again. Wait. Let's set this one up. Wait a minute. Is that bad what I did? No, because he didn't do anything and I took the pawn. But in this case, if I try to do the same thing, this pawn can take back, and this is like regular chess, counting how many attackers you have versus defenders. Pawn takes, pawn takes. I'm analyzing it all on one dimension, not even considering other dimensions, because it's not feasible. I'm going to move this pawn up to support the pawn push. Let's do it. Boom, 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 boom. You made a move on 4 boards. At least it looks all pretty and lined up, you know? We don't have any crazy, like, down here and to the right. I guess if it ventures far away from the... Like, this is becoming like a cube, you know? We got a 4x4... No, almost a 4x4 cube right here. Extending to 5x5. But that would be some... Okay. I don't know. Like, say if I wanted to do I could go back in time here, create another branch, and then get this make it into a 5x5. But I don't know if that's beneficial. It's my move on 4. I have to move on 4 boards. So, all right, this king. Okay, finally. I wonder if this is checking the king in the present. Checking the king in the present, the king could just teleport into the past, so it's not checkmate. I want to take this knight. That's the thing, is I kill the knight. Like, his army's getting weak on this board. But he just teleports to another board. And now he's got a big army again. There is a bit of circular back and forth. Like, you know, I don't know, I take this knight. It is check. It will be check on this board. Didn't I have a queen on there? No. He took the pawn? Wait, what happened here? Okay, he took the pawn. Wait a second. Oh, I was threatening the queen, and he just took the pawn. We could trade queens here. I take queen, he takes queen. And then I move a rook over threat. Ooh! I mean, I don't know if it will work, but let's just do it. Queen takes queen. He'll take my queen back. Then I can move a rook over threatening the queen, plus the something. And look, as you can see, I'm making like regular moves. It looks like I'm not even considering other dimensions. Ugh. Maybe I should make another dimension. Parallel. This is so complex. But where's some of my powerful pieces? A queen. My queen on this board. I don't have a queen on this board, do I? It's like, okay, if I pick this queen, parallel views, she can go a lot of places. Look at that. Ooh. Should I send her to the past? Way into the past? Like, well, I say way in the past. Just 1, 2, 3 moves in the past. But I'll have 2 queens on this board with a king that has no queen. I'm going to do it. You know what? I'm going to do it. Queen travels to the past. Creates another timeline. I have 2 queens on this board, and he has none. Let's do it. Maybe that's the strategy. Yeah, queens like to travel a lot. I've noticed as I play, the rooks don't seem to get a lot of action. The bishops don't seem to get a lot of action. They're kind of clumsy pieces. Knights have limited. Knights are good for defense, but they're short range pieces. I mean, bishops and rooks could travel, but like there's usually something blocking their paths. Let's do it. Queen's gonna go boom over here. Woohoo! Look at that queen go. Dong. New timeline, and the present has been moved all the way back. This seems like it could go on forever, and in a sense, it technically could. I'm submitting. I guess I had another. I could have moved on the future if I wanted to, but okay. All right, now that this is shifted over, these boards are optional for him until the present comes around. Okay, let's see what's going on over here. I was kind of hoping the game might, but I'm in end now, just so the video's not too long, but I had 2 queens on this board. You just gotta go after 1 king. Ooh, maybe start, oops, no. Knight up here, and just start going for an attack on here. Expose this. He's got a knight and a bishop for defense. Or just expose this king out. This king, even though the king's in the center, it's still kind of safe. I need to start sacking some pieces, maybe just get the king out. I think. It's a free pawn over here. Get this bishop in the action. Let's do it. Oh, he's moving to the future. My queen! What the fuck? Oh, because he wasn't check, and he had to get out of check, but... Oh my god. See, that's where I... See, this is the first blundering of a queen. Ah. And just to visualize it, so I have to ignore half the boards, because those are my boards. From his point of view, the knight went... it's hard to visualize on the flat. Let's do parallel. Although when I do this mode, it takes away the arrow that I'm looking for, and I lose track. But that knight went over here, and it was. Oh no, you can see it. You can see the purple square, and the purple square. So that knight. It. Yeah, it went. Yeah, L shape. Down one dimension, and then boom, boom. You have to ignore the board. Yeah, my boards are my boards, and his boards are his boards. Yeah, so when you're moving through time, when you're moving through dimensions and time, the other players' boards don't exist because you're making moves on. It's complicated, but 2 boards is 1 move because it's a representation of my move and the representation of their move. So I'm a little sad now that I lost my queen over here, but that might be okay. It's just hard to visualize. But now that he did that, I want to check him over here. It's only my move on 1 board. Technically 3 boards, but those in the future. If I don't, I can do them later if I want. If I had an attack in the future, I'd just go for it. I'm curious though, can you win in the future? Or can it be like checkmate in the future, but it hasn't happened yet, so you haven't won yet? I'm curious if a checkmate in the future is a legitimate checkmate, or if you can stop it. Like we talk, there's a lot of sci-fi movies about going back in time and stopping a tragic event. Go back in time and kill Hitler. But can you save a life in the future? I don't know. Well, that's just normal life. If you know a terrorist attack is going to happen, then it's the future, and you just try to stop it. This is some trippy shit. All right, I'm going for attack on this one. Also, him killing my queen removed a defender on this board. I'm just going to attack with check. I'm going to attack with check. He takes back. I take back. Even though this is all on one board. I know it doesn't always work that way. The king's going to teleport somewhere to get out of the checkmate. Let's just do it. You have to experiment. You just have to experiment. You can't really... No matter how good you are at chess, this is just some wacky tobacco. So he's in check, and he got out of check by taking. And I'm going to take, and this is checkmate on this board, but he can hop to other dimensions. So it's not it's a two-dimensional checkmate, but this is not a two-dimensional game. Parallel. Yeah. Although you have to consider it might be it might actually be checkmate because of all the queen comes up here. That's the thing that if you attack on one board, like normal chess, that's one attack on the king. If that lasers into another dimension and attacks another king, this may very well be checkmate. I want to see if it's checkmate before actually trying it. I want because the first few games I was playing, I won, but I don't understand why, or if I lost, I didn't understand why. Like, why is this checkmate? Because it's not like a okay, queen. Okay. Queen takes this. This checkmate. We'll just call it check. He can teleport and get out. But if this queen is somewhere attacking another king somewhere else, oops, then it's game over and I win. Parallel views. If the queen moves here, I want to know if it's checking. There's so many kings. It's got to be checking it. It's so close to the enemy king. It's got to be attacking another king somewhere. It's got to be checkmate, or if not close. Do I win? I still. Oh, still my. Oh yeah, I can't submit the move because it's my move over here. Double attack. But okay, you could attack two kings from two different boards, but then if it's his move on both boards, then he could stop both threats. Like I want this bishop to. This bishop could take this pawn, check, but he could kill it. The thing is can he get out of all checks? Also, I have to keep in mind that this bishop might defend something through. They might defend each other through another dimension. Oh my God! Look at this. Look at all of this. Woo! There are fields, Neo. Endless fields where chess pieces are no longer born. They are grown. I'm curious if through the parallel dimension, my queen's here, attacking this king. I would love to see the queen lasers to all the other spots. Like this queen. Like what I'm thinking about doing on the other board might not even be necessary. I might be able to move anything on this last board and I win, but I want to see if I can assist each other. It's like football in a way. They move in here, and the two basically they're like teammates, and they're just assisting each other for the checkmate through, because it's like a three-dimensional chessboard. So bishop here attacks the king, but he can kill. I'm thinking this might be checkmate, though. This queen Does this queen attack any other kings in any other dimension? Yeah, it does, I think, because this queen will be lasering through. I think it's checkmate. I don't think it matters what I do on this board. I think I've won. I'm just gonna move the rook over here. I don't think it matters. I think I win. Let's see. And no, I did not. So he's taking a queen back in time and capturing one of my pawns, creating a new dimension. What about the... Oh, well, I got my answer. I got my answer. It's his move on this chessboard, and it looks like he's in checkmate. I was like, he's got to teleport. Yeah, he's got to teleport, but he doesn't have to do it right away because it's the future and it hasn't happened yet. Ah, I got to get the present to catch up. So I killed him in the future, which means he's not dead yet. Son of a bitch. I didn't want this to be a super long video, but it's okay. It's an hour-long video. Chess is long. Chess is complicated. It's known for it. But now I have to make a move on this alternate crap. So what did he do? He sent a queen. Because I was threatening a queen. Oh, but I can take a queen with check. He took a queen. He saved one queen. Back in time. Created this timeline up here. He's got 3 queens on this board now. That concerns me a little bit for, if he's going after this game. I don't know. All I know is this is the future, but I'm just going to do it. I don't have to do it now, but I'm curious what the advantage would be of... It's just choice. I think a lot of this is just random chance until you kind of figure it out. Like, I kind of figure out, for the most part, how the pieces move. Like, I can take this queen now, or I can take it later when I have to move on this board. I'm just gonna do it. It's check. I take it check, but it's in the future. Once again, he's in check in the future. Ugh. I'm not gonna move on this board. Now that queen's dead, not much is going on. When the president catches up, he'll move on like 6 boards. Alright, this is the only one I have to do. He's coming after me on this one. Knight. I want to expose the king. Ooh, no. I move this knight, and he's got a battery here. Queen here, checkmate. My king would have to like travel into the past or something. The thing is, I don't want to checkmate on a regular board because there's a chance by luck that... I wonder if the computer can see better than I can. The computer's not... I'm not playing on the hardest difficulty, but I can't visualize the other boards. I'm assuming the computer can. But if I were to play it on the hardest difficulty, for example, you could just see everything that it can do while I cannot visualize it. Bishop here, attacks the queen. Let's do it. Submit. Oh, what? Wait, queen teleports. Good lord. Queen teleports again. I attack the queen teleports. Creates another timeline. That's it. But we are moving the... Ooh! But we are moving the... Ooh! But the present bar is getting closer to my checkmate. I want to see what he does. He's going to have to teleport that king. This game is long. It's getting long. Alright. But I also was explaining a lot. So I move on. So he teleported here. It looks similar to the other one. These two look similar because the paths were created not too far apart from each other. The position's almost the same. Well, he's got 3 queens on one, and he's got 2 queens in there. Ugh. I'm gonna do the similar concept and get this out. Expose these queens. I hope the history is not. Hope it's not history repeating itself. He's just gonna. I keep it. He's just like, yeah. Me going after queens, I just teleport. But I think I just won the game. That sound effect. You win. Game ended. And it really. Yep. And guess what? It was the. Okay. Holy crap in hell! That was. It feels good to win, but I wasn't. You know, he wasn't really putting up a fight. This was more of a tutorial game. But this game is trippy as hell. Okay, just like I predicted. Yeah, you checkmate in the future. It hasn't happened yet. Once it catches up to the present. So what I did on when I moved on this last board, it didn't really matter. We just it finally caught up, and now this is the checkmated board. This queen is checkmated, but I'm curious. Look at that crap, mother. Yeah. It's not. So whenever you have you get this little exclamation mark when it's a check, or in this case, checkmate. I had a feeling this queen being so close to the king, it just, without me even analyzing the other boards, he hasn't moved his king. That's the thing. Yeah, okay, that's something I just learned. He hasn't moved his king at all this entire game. He never castled. All of his kings are, if you look at every single board, since the king never moved, the king, that should have been easy for me to visualize. I was doubtful, but now it's just obvious. Every single board, the black king is in the same spot. Ergo, when I got a checkmate on one board, and now you click on this, it just shows you the path of the checkmate. Look at this. In this case, and what confuses me a little bit is that it's a repetition of the same board, but just with the arrows. But it looks like it's adding to the timeline. I think they just want to put the explanation checkmate board. They just don't want to. I wouldn't mind if they would just show the arrows on the original checkmate board, unless this is necessary. I don't know, but basically this is the exact same board as this board because I didn't move here. It just the game ended because it finally caught up to the present. Checkmated here, but if you look at the history view, parallel view. But the thing is, you can't see all the arrows. But that king, okay. It's so easy for me to visualize dimensions when they're lined up like this, but eventually I need to start learning how to play this game without constantly doing these two views. If I could actually visualize them all flat, I would be a better player. But okay, yeah. This obvious checkmate on the two-dimensional plane, but this queen is checking. Okay, let's just look at the kings. This is not just a double checkmate. This is a quadruple. I have quadrupled checkmated. I've checkmated 4 kings. And actually, technically, it's not a checkmate in the sense of it's just different. It's just different because there are so many kings involved. The kings are not trapped, but he can't save all the kings, and so once he makes his moves, if he were to make the moves he can make, I would be able to capture some kings, especially kings in the past. Capturing kings in the past, that's the best way to go. You threaten a king in the past, it can't move because it can't change the past. With the one exception, that if you go back in time and check, they have to be able to go back in time and kill you. And that's not always available, which is why king safety is of the utmost importance. But here we go. Checkmate here. A real checkmate on this two-dimensional board, but even if this king were to teleport, I am attacking this king over here, because if you look at the parallel view, this queens go in all directions. So this queen can go diagonally up to this one, diagonally to this one. What was the other one? Oh yeah, you have to ignore the blackboards. I'm white, so here to the plane here that's 2 is enough. I'm attacking 2, and he can't save both. It's his move on both of these, but also it's confusing me because they move this right here. Okay, this is what's confusing me. Undo move. I just want to explain. Okay, clicking this does give you the arrows, but let's just memorize it now. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, the blackboards don't exist. They exist for my opponent, but they don't exist on my planes. My 3-dimensional cube versus his 3-dimensional cube, whatever. So yeah, I guess that. Okay, now just remember it's these 4 in a corner. The four boards in the corner, and then when we go to parallel. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the explanation board and then show the, so here we go. By going up here, attack this king, attacking, I wish I could show the arrows through, but the queen can go through straight. No, go diagonally up 1. Because it goes that queen can go in 8 different directions on a 2-dimensional board, but on a 3-dimensional plane that we have now, it's a lot of directions. It's 8 going upwards. 8. Well, it's a lot. You're adding a 3rd dimension. I think I've beaten this to death, but I think you guys get it. All of his kings are in the same spot, so this queen is definitely touching a lot of different kings. He can't save them all. So I checkmated. Or I'm attacking 4 kings. He can save. If we go back to the... You get the idea. You attack 2 kings at once. You can't save all of them. Although if you attack 2 different kings and 2 different presents, it's his turn and he could save both kings. So it's possible, but not in the past. You gotta worry about your past. Your past will come back to haunt you, man. So I won. Okay, I think that concludes this video. So finish game. It's so crazy. I hope you got a lot out of this. And for my second video, I will explain less about the nature of the moves. You get the idea. I'll just do more strategy. I'll play on a hard difficulty as well and probably get my ass kicked. So, alright, finish game, man. Feels good. Alright.